Hey, Sunshine. How are you tonight? This is a special episode of Conversations with Selena. I am so excited. I'm so excited. We can't even go live because we're back here cracking up laughing. It's a little bit of technical, a little bit of humor, but we can find a way just to laugh at ourselves to keep from crying or saying we ain't doing this. But y'all just be prepared to get a good belly laugh from my guest tonight because she is hilarious without even trying to be. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna give you a minute to share. So go ahead and share this video. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Valente Real Estate. Miss Tammy. So y'all be sure to go see Miss Tammy if you need anything. I'm gonna pop her flyer up on the screen somewhere. I just put it up here. There we go. So Valente Real Estate, 601-799-3.
I'm pointing
34 3477. Please call her. She is amazing. Her team is amazing. So we just thank her so much. We love our sponsors. If you would like to sponsor an episode of Conversation with Selena, please reach out to conversationswithselena@gmail.com and we will take care of you. All right. So we're going to try this video and see if it plays just right. Go ahead and share and we'll be right back.
Hey, Sunshine. Hey, Sunshine.
All right, that's enough of that because that was slowing down, speeding up, slowing down. I don't know what it was doing, but we're back. I just want to go ahead and introduce my guest tonight. I am so excited. We have really had a good time on today. I came down early. Y'all know normally Conversations with Selena, we're in separate places, but we're here together. I would hug her, but you'd be surprised at the facial expression that you will see if I go in for the hug. So I'm gonna stay over here to myself and just say she is an amazing woman of God, and it just warms my heart to be able to introduce her. I'm not gonna cry, but she is a beautiful soul, and my lovely friend Lanita Wallace is here with me tonight.
I'm sorry. I said we were going to not worry about them. The gnats.
She is the lovely wife married to Pastor Joel J. Wallace Sr. They have been married for 23 years, y'all. 23. And, you know, they go and they do marriage counseling and they'll counsel you even if you're single to get you prepared for marriage. So this is a wonderful couple to be connected to. They have 5 beautiful children. Miss Lanita is the co-pastor of Church of the Living God Resurrection. She is a graduate of the University of Southern Mississippi, a licensed social worker in the state of Mississippi. She worked for the state health Department of Health for almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. So she said the same job almost 20 years, been married to the same man for 23 years. I'm like, who does that? But listen, it can happen. We try to get out of things too quickly when it's not pretty, but anything that's worth having is worth working for. And so it doesn't come easy, but it's worth it. Especially when you have somebody that is loving you and it's true love. And they definitely, if you see them together, it's like they just got together. So she has worked primarily with high-risk infants and pregnant women. And she has also served as an advocate for at-risk youth for since 1996. So y'all, Look at what we have with us tonight. An amazing woman. She is awesome. So y'all please share this video because we are here as advocate for children and we all should be. And so the message tonight is there's a voice for the children. We are the voices, you are the voices, and they have a voice. So if they don't know how to speak it, we are the persons or the people that are going to speak on their behalf. So that's what we're here for tonight.
Yeah.
So welcome, girlfriend.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor.
Oh gosh, you're making me blush.
It is. Oh my gosh, I am so honored, and I don't feel worthy because she's amazing. Selena's amazing and does an amazing work for the kingdom. So I am a pastor, so everything we're gonna go preachy. So I'm gonna try not to preach.
She gonna go preachy. I'm just gonna be over here in the amen section with my look. I'm gonna be over here with the fans. So yes, amen, girl. Tell it.
But no, awesome woman of God, and wonderful things will continue to flow from your belly. Rivers of living water just flowing from her belly. So I just appreciate being here with you.
Well, I appreciate you saying yes. And
it was, oh, go ahead.
You didn't say yes?
I don't know. I don't even remember the conversation. I was so scared. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth.
Transparent moment.
Exactly. I was really hoping something, would have canceled or something, because this is not me, y'all. Selena's beautiful. This is her thing. She just flows with it. But when I get on here and I'm like, ugh.
No, you're not. So this is how it really happened. We were supposed to do it, and the event got canceled. And then your friend Thunder is like, you should get Lanita to come on. Mamita, I'm throwing you under the bus, Mamita.
Yes, she's lightning. I'm thunder. They call me.
You thunder. She like that's right. Lightning. I'm sunshine.
That's right. She's sunshine. So we work together well.
So this is Thunder. She doesn't look like she's Thunder, but she really is Thunder. And then Connie is lightning. I had it backwards.
That's okay. That's all right. Because that's us.
One goes with the other one, hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
All right.
So how is everybody? I'm seeing some people coming on and saying hello. So hey, everybody.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Here with us.
I'm trying to work it over here. I need an assistant to be on the other end. There's Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa. Zonthia next. I've been trying to get Zonthia to come on, but she was definitely like, I'm going to have to pray about it.
Oh, yeah.
I know the Lord didn't give her the answer.
I got to work on that thing. Okay. But no, I did pray before I came.
We did pray. We cried.
Yes, cried much. And a lot of what we cried about, I guess, is basically some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight because, we go through a lot in our youth and you felt voiceless in that time. And I think this is why we are such strong advocates for giving our babies their voice. And so we'd love to hear from you all too. So help us out. We're going to need the help.
Yeah. Help us out in the chat.
Yeah.
So did you feel like you had a voice as a child? Is there something that you wish that could have been said? Can y'all hear an echo? Let me know if y'all hear echo. Like, yeah, let me know if you hear echo because I'll turn that off. I'm trying to work the comments from this other phone. I will be in the city Saturday, sunshine. Okay. So do you feel like you had a voice as a child? And if you did not, what do you wish that would have been spoken up on your behalf? Because we want to help the children that's coming up now. They're our future. We hear this all the time, but really and truly, we the old people now. So we have to help even when the child feels like they're not able to trust. Because when you've been through so much, you definitely have these trust issues.
Definitely. And it affects you in so many other ways of your life because we were talking, she was saying about coming in and giving me a hug, and I was sharing with her some of the things that I encountered as a child from something as simple as a hug became such a perverted gesture. It was not innocent in any way for me growing up, because some of the things that we experience as young people. So then in my mind, I equated a hug to being something more, and it wasn't a simple thing. So I refrained from hugging people, and now as an adult, I'm still working on that. But I was sharing with you how, because of my insecurity and how I would not show that type of affection um, to my children, they're not as affectionate as the oldest son. And anyway, not as affectionate with showing hugs because of what happened to me as a young child. So that was some of the things we shared today, and was able to just kind of cry through. And now we needed to be able to see from your perspective, what would you do? And I love that question you just posed. If you actually felt like you had a voice as a child, I know this is something deep, and this is probably something you do not wish to share. But those of you who are willing, or this may be right now your free outlet to openly, discuss it, that we can work through it together. Because I believe in prayer. I believe in that God can work any situation to be for his good. And if you're a Bible reader, you've seen where God has taken some negative situations and circumstances and have made it work out for his good. So maybe this is an opportunity to say, hey, this is something that I went through, or I wish I could have had a voice, or I wish, and I'm going to say it from this perspective, because we are pastors. I wanted to come from a pastor's perspective and from the church, and try to help the church to be able to identify these babies that are in your congregation, mm-hmm. that are going through something. Because unfortunately, the church does not know how to react to this, or the church is not prepared to handle when children in our youth ministry or Sunday school class starts disclosing some things that's been happening behind their homes' closed doors. The church has to be a voice. In fact, that's where the first voice should be, before the state gets involved, or this is the grounds where the children should feel the safest and should feel like I can talk about anything, even the things that I was told not to discuss. Mm-hmm. But that's where we're going to learn tonight on how to, even when they're not opening up with their mouths to speak about it, children speak. They speak in other ways. And we as ministers and people in the church, pastors, have got to know the language that these babies use to let us know they're in trouble. And then we need to know how to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Cynthia said we were talking about this Sunday. Mm-hmm. So, Cynthia, do you have any input on that? Like, as a child, do you feel like, or have you encountered children that feels like, they don't have a voice? Because, I'm not ashamed to say it took me till 48 years old to really find my voice, and people don't even recognize me. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I don't recognize them. I'm like, girl, who are you? And I know there's people out there looking at me with the side eye saying, who she thinks she is? But it's okay. Like, I'm using.
I wasn't giving you a side eye. I was just.
Yeah, you was giving me the side eye.
I was looking at.
I know people giving me the side eye, talk about who she thinks she is. But, I don't think that I'm better than anyone else, not at all. Like, if you get to know people, like she's saying, if you get to know the children, if you recognize and can identify, let's stop being so judgmental, thinking, oh, she just thinks she, looking at the child that is starting to dress a little bit differently. That's a sign. Like, she's young. She doesn't know anything about that, but it's because she's been exposed to things that are above her years, and exactly. So, or if they're withdrawn, that's another sign that maybe something is happening. If they've been like a extrovert, is that the right word? And then they become inward, they turn to introvert. So, there's just signs. And even if it's not to the extreme that we're talking about, there could be something going on. It could just be, well, I shouldn't say just be, but it might be neglect. Like, they're being left home alone, or you just never know. And we have to ask those tough questions, not to be nosy, but to be helpful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And remember, abuse is not necessarily a hands-on act, but abuse can be just exposure. Mm-hmm. you know, I can't really go into detail of some things that, you know, I've experienced as a child, but abuse is just simply exposure. You know, just having someone speaking to you in a way that you know is inappropriate, um, just looking at you. And like I just said, it was nothing that was actually done, but, you know, but a hug that can lead, you know, just, you know, it's not just an innocent hug. Look how that has affected me in my entire life to where I'm just not a hugger. That was an abuse, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. Some inappropriate things were being done, inappropriate touching, and then they used it or disguised it as a simple hug. And when the children start withdrawing, hey, Evangelistina, you're my favorite too, girl. Hey, sister. Um, but you know, when the children, you know, feel uncomfortable or starts withdrawing, and you know they used to be a hugger, used to come to you and run to you before service started and wrap their arms around your legs, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're not coming to you at all. They're not even engaging with the other children. When you start noticing things like that, like I said, the church should be one of the first people, the first entity to capture that something's off and know how to respond when these babies are having that type of a reaction. So,
Vanessa says, low self esteem because of my weight. So I isolated myself from others. Scared to speak up, no voice, but now I'm getting better. Zontia says, after prayer, what's next? You must have a solution to the problem. Make a person feel comfortable to want to
exactly.
talk about things like this.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, sometimes creating that environment will take a little longer for some children. Some kids will come in and just
Spill
start
it out.
talking. You know, some children like, okay, here it is. And then you're like, you know, like you're not expecting that. And that's happened on many occasions where children have just come in and just spilled, just tell you everything and that you're not even trying to hear and not even prepared to hear. And then you have other children that you do have to work really, really hard to tell, you know, create that environment to say, hey, this is a safe place, this is a fun place. But always listen. They may not talk to you, but they may talk to another child, or they may act it out in their play with that child, using dolls, using another child, for instance. It's not something that they're purposely trying to do, but like I said, that children speak with another language, and we have to understand the language of these children. So yeah, I know what Sister Fowler was talking. Miss, see, I'm acting like I'm in church. Sister Fowler.
Sister Fowler, what Sister Fowler said?
Sister Fowler. Yes, low self-esteem because of weight. So I isolated myself from others. Um, my issue wasn't weight. My issue was when I was young, this girl used to pick on me and said that I looked like I got hit in the face with a frying pan because everything was flat here, but my lips, they stuck out like this. And she always would tell me that, you know, I had a flat face, big lips, was ugly, or I was shaped like a capital P because I was skinny, but I had large breasts. And so that was always something that people picked on me about, mocked me. You know, I couldn't help the way I looked. And so I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I was shaped. So it's not even necessarily an overweight thing. People just can make you feel bad, and you hate yourself just because of somebody else's opinion of you. And I've tried to encourage my children and try to encourage anyone, love yourself right now. Love yourself where you are right now. And if you choose to work on yourself to do better, then love yourself right now. And so we're just going to go to church with you, Sister Fowler. You know, now with, you say use that same comfort, that comfort that God has comforted with you with. Use that same comfort to comfort children, comfort anyone, not just children, but anyone else that you see. That spirit that you've dealt with and fought with, that low self-esteem spirit, um, you would be the one to quickly recognize it on someone else because you've identified with it so long and for many years. So you're the one who would be able to spot that quicker than I would, or Selena or someone else. And that's that same comfort that God comforted you with to help you get through it. You can use that to help comfort others, and especially children, because there are children who are struggling with their weight, struggling with their identity, and most of the times they are struggling with that because of things that have been said, things that have been shown to them. It might be an abusive thing, and you're the one that can help them come out of it. So your voice may not necessarily be for you, but your voice can be for so many others. Even though we didn't have a voice growing up, and something shut us down from being able to speak, nothing encourages me more than to be able to open up and say, I will speak for someone else, even quicker than I would myself. I will speak because I would not want anyone else to ever feel like I felt the insecurities that I felt when I was growing up. I don't want that for another child ever. So let that be your encouragement. And that is also what helps you to overcome it yourself. Like you forget about you pretty much. You forget about anything that you've struggled with when you put your time and attention to making sure somebody else never feels that way again. I think that helps out a lot. And I'm running my mouth. I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good. You're good. No, that's perfect. I was just gonna say, it negatively affects us when we've been teased and bullied, and even in the household, parents and relatives and friends, they say things and they think it's funny. Sometimes they think it's in a joking way. Sometimes it's intentional to hurt you, but it does tear down your self-esteem. And so how do you help a child build it up? You know what I mean? It's like it's too much unattended children.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying attention, then a parent, a church member, a friend should nip that in the bud. Anytime you hear a kid say, "Are you stupid? Are you ugly? Are you this?" Don't allow that behavior. Let your children know that that is unacceptable in each and every household. If you hear it, shut it down, because now as adults that have suffered from it, and then it goes over into our children, like that low self-esteem that you have, not feeling worthy. You teach your children to have that same mentality, and then here now they're working through their issues, and it's all stemmed from something somebody said. And so your voice has to be louder than anybody else's, because I am what I say I am.
Amen.
That's what my shirts say. I am what I say I am. And sometimes I have to be clear. So I am what God says I am. And so then I have to speak those words out of my mouth, and then we have to speak life over the children. And yes, when they start to open up, you're like, am I prepared for this? I don't even know what to say at this moment. But just be yourself. Say, I understand. And everybody can't relate to that. But if you can, be that empathetic ear. Listen to what they're having to say. Not so quick to respond, because sometimes we just have to listen so that they'll continue to open up. Because if we try to interject, tell them, "Oh, well, girl, I know because that happened to me." That ain't your time. That's their time, and give them that time to speak.
Now, if you're the one that the child chooses to open up with, but you feel like I'm not comfortable or I don't feel qualified or equipped to work with that child, then you ask that child's permission. Do you mind if I bring my friend with me so we can work together and help you? You need to be in the room because that child felt comfortable enough to open and disclose that to you. But bring someone else in that can kind of guide you in what to do, what to say. We don't have to be the hero. Be humble enough to say, I don't have the skill to take care of this, but you know what? I know someone who's going to be able to help you. Listen to the kids when they come into you and telling you, I have a secret and I can't tell you. I've heard that too. And they withdraw, and then, pretty soon after time of getting comfortable and share some things with them. I have a secret too. And sometimes, I'm afraid. Sometimes I'm afraid of the dark, or sometimes I'm afraid of this. And so you give them some sort of some kind of connection with you, that we both share a secret. And if they share that secret with you, that something's going on in the home, um, or I have a secret, but if I tell you, somebody in my house will get in trouble, and that's a big red flag. So keep working with that child, but also the church, your youth team, your youth ministers should always know the like child abuse hotline number or the website. You need to research that and make sure you have that on hand in the event of a child coming to you and sharing with you that there's something wrong in my home or something wrong with my body. And some of these kids, they will say some stuff, some foul and perverted things that a baby that age should not know. Those are big red flags too, that you need to respond to immediately. And I wasn't real sure how we were going to take this, but to me, my biggest concern is we need to be aware in the church. We just went through a safe sanctuary training on making sure we prevent that type of child abuse in the church. And I believe you can probably look that up online as far as safe sanctuary. You can look it up and get some of the insight of what to do in your sanctuaries, on how to make sure that's something that's not brought up in your church. Introduce your youth leaders to this program, and follow it, because doors to the youth ministry should have windows. Someone should be going back there checking often. If there are no windows on the doors should be kept wide open. um, Nobody new should be coming in the door and automatically volunteering to work with the kids. 'Cause that's a red flag too. I want to be with the children, and they want to be back there by themselves and things of that nature. These are things that need to be discussed. And the enemy, we already know the devil. He's walking about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, and his whole goal is to kill, steal, and to destroy. So guess where he can do it the quickest is with our youth. Mm-hmm. They're the most vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And the church has become too trusting. Oh, look at this man or woman of God that wants to work with the youth. Praise the Lord. And they the biggest demon. We better have some discernment on who we allow to work with our youth. You don't want everyone back there talking to the kids and things of that nature, and run some background. Churches need to be able to run background checks on these key people who's working with our youth. We don't even realize how many pedophiles and people that are already on the sex offenders page are in the church. Mm-hmm. And because we're not researching, we've taken such a lax mode to life. We need to be more observant and more curious, because this is, where the enemy knows he could come in and do some things, that because we're just so trusting, we're so loving and forgiving, but there's some things we need to make sure we're, being aware of before we allow our children to be exposed. The church is supposed to be the safest place for our children. So that means the church has to be sure that it is the safest place for our children.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was going to read. I'm trying to keep this quiet. We got to figure out a way. So, Denisha, Dee said, this is a topic that truly needs to be discussed. It's uncomfortable, but necessary. Thank you, ladies, for being the voice these victims need. It's happening more than we want to admit.
Yes, that's so true. Mm-hmm. So true.
Mm-hmm. And Zanthia said, my granddaughter had a problem with people hugging her, but when we began to open up with different conversations, she finally began to talk. Then we started to work with solutions to help her through what she was dealing with.
Awesome. That's amazing. And it's not something that's common. Children love hugs. I was oddball, y'all, but children love hugs. So if there's just all of a sudden a hugging child and withdrawal, then there's something that's we need to start, investigating further. What's wrong? What happened? Um, we need to be more aware of, be more observant of our children. Y'all, I'm not fanning at Selena.
My brother. We did this.
Like, look, these are gnats flying that y'all don't see. I'm so sorry. They being so defiant right now. I've been praying for these gnats. They just will.
That's what she
They
do.
will not go sit themselves down. Okay, here we go. Professional looking.
Mommy, let's see, lightning.
Yeah, my sister Lightning. Hey, Lightning.
I know we talked about you before you hopped on, girl.
Yes.
I told the story that you suggested that Lanita come on. She tried to slide up out of it. She said, I didn't agree to that.
I said, well, I bless God for you, because I know what my sister gonna always push me. She's gonna push me, and I'm gonna tell you what, everybody listening, you better have that kind of a woman in your corner. You better have some Selenas and some Connie Lionses in your corner that's gonna push you beyond what you feel you're capable of doing. Always have somebody that's gonna get behind you and say, "Oh, baby, you're not retreating. You're not gonna back up." Because I got those sisters in my life. Because if it wasn't for them, y'all would never know who I was. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, COVID was my best friend. When they said lockdown, I was more than happy. I did not like human interaction because people make me nervous. Humans do some strange things, and I'm getting hot, sweating now thinking about it. I did not mind being locked up in my house and away from everybody. Doesn't that sound strange for a pastor to say?
Mm-hmm.
A social worker too.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't supposed to agree on that.
Oh, no.
Okay. God, put me out there. I don't even know how to come back from that now. But anyway, I'm gonna say it. I didn't mind because I just don't ever feel like it got hot. I don't ever feel like I'm enough.
And
so,
that's a result from the childhood trauma.
That's right.
And it affects us in our adulthood, in our adult relationships, in our interactions with our job, our husbands. I have women come and talk about situations now that they have with their husbands, and the husband touched them the wrong way, and they like ready to fight because of that memory, that trigger of they remember that touch or they remember that scent or whatever it is. And so, if we can prevent some of this stuff, if we could prevent it all, like if we could just start making examples out of some of these people, but they have to be exposed, and they can't be exposed like years later when they're 85 years old and, then already negatively affected so many. Because I'm not saying people can't change, but if they get away with it, then what's the motivation for them to stop? Mm-hmm. If you're just slapping them on the hand, what's the motivation for them to stop? Because just signing them up on a registry, it doesn't stop them. Like, we're not even doing the research to know that this is the pedophile in the neighborhood, to keep them away from the schools and away from the children and out of the youth department. We don't know.
Statistics say that the encounter will happen possibly 26 times before they're caught. 26 times before they're caught. That predator will act out 26 times. And so this is where the child has been overlooked, has not been paid attention to. 26 times, somebody should have caught that number one. Because the first time, that child's going to always have a very negative impact from, result. They're going to, come back and have that kind of a negative response to what just took place. So where are we in this? Let's not let it happen 26 times. Let's be sure we catch it before. If we can stop it in any time, let's stop it. Let's pay attention, because before that even get to the place where they're acting, there's always signs before that person actually acts out. Because like I said, it starts with the inappropriate hugging. It starts with the staring. It starts with, constantly asking you for a hug. And that was the thing with me. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. And it was like,
And you can sense that.
Yeah, it
that
was
it's
something,
not
the way
a
it was
natural
said.
hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then the way they get their hand in the small portion of your back and hold you tight, like not just a hug or a cordial and let you go. It's that long, drawn out hug, implying that
I call it a python hug.
python hug.
That's what I call it. It's a python hug when their arms completely go all around you and pull you in, and to where you can't really pull back from it, or it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
I call that a python hug. But
what you call the look, the stare? I know you got a name for it.
I don't have a name for
Creepy.
it. It's just weirdo.
Weirdo. Pervert.
Yeah, that perverted stare.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a Bible study, and I was saying that this is how the church generally takes this type of approach from Acts 18, where Paul was in Corinth, and the Jews kind of, create an insurrection against Paul. They came on one accord, and they became, came up to did this insurrection against Paul and brought him before the deputy of Achaia named Gallio. And Gallio was in Corinth, and he was over the judgment seat. And so the Jews brought Paul before him and was like, he is preaching in the name of Jesus, and he's against our laws, he's against our rules. And so Gallio looked at them and said, what's that got to do with me? It's not breaking the law. He's not doing anything wicked. He's not doing anything that is, breaking laws. He's breaking your law. You talking about you're upset because he's preaching in certain names. What's that got to do with me? So after he pushed him away from the judgment seat, the Gentiles went and got the chief ruler of the synagogue, which was Sosthenes, and brought him back before the judgment seat before Gallio and just beat the Pope out of him. And Gallio just sat there like on the judgment seat, and it says he took no notice. He overlooked it. He just, like, it was nothing. He is the judge over the area, and he just let them do it and overlooked, it ain't got nothing to do with me. And I was thinking, I said, sometimes we take that Gallio approach, even though what he did benefited Paul and benefited his ministry, but to sit there and overlook something that was so brutal, that tends to be how we can take it. Like, it's not my problem. It has nothing to do with me. It ain't against my household. It's not affecting my name. So there's no purpose, no reason, because it's going to stir. They're going to be mad. They know where I live, so they might come over there and do something to me. But, think about what that child is feeling. How, lonely and how helpless and how powerless that child is feeling. No one to stand for them, no one to defend them. And so we can't take that Gallio mindset where we have a judgment seat at where we are. When you see something, you're supposed to say something. When you hear something, you're supposed to say something. You're supposed to react. You're supposed to find some way to be able to get that child help. But taking that Gallio mindset, sitting down, at that point, when you made notice of that, you have become a judge. You are sitting literally on a judgment seat, and you now have to make a decision on what's going to happen with that child. And saying nothing and doing nothing, you've given them a lifetime verdict of them feeling guilty. You've placed that guilty verdict on them to where they will always feel so ashamed and so dirty and so filthy, and just feel like nothing. There's no value with them, because that person who sat in that judgment seat, who took notice, had a Gallio mindset and decided to turn their head and take no notice of it. And we cannot respond like that. Not as the church, not as any individual. If you have any heart at all, we cannot respond that way. We have to say something. And I know all of us have encountered something where we probably wish someone had spoken up for us. And because I know I see people coming in, and it may not affect you. It may not have any type of any effect on you at all. But you may encounter someone that this message, this program tonight, can be a benefit to. We all are responsible to raising up a generation of loving young people. And if not, let me tell you what's going to happen. If we keep overlooking it and saying it's not our problem, then you or I will probably meet that person coming through our front door with a gun held to our face. Or we'll meet that person driving on the wrong side of the street drunk head on. It will affect us one way or the other. It will affect us, and we have to be involved right now before it gets to the point where depression and suicide and drug abuse and or future future offenders offenders that will come. We got to stop it and do all we can to be a voice for these children. And I did write down the numbers if you wanted to call. First of all, 911. If it's something that's urgent, something that's happening and that you actually witness, you can dial 911. But another number for the child abuse hotline is 1-800-222-8000. That's 1-800-222-8000. Then there's also the abuse website. You can go on and report child abuse online at their website. And so it is reportabuse.mdcps, Mississippi Department of Child Protection Services, .ms.gov. So that's reportabuse.mdcps.ms.gov. That's important information to have posted in your youth ministries, important information to have posted in the church to let people know that you are ready. If anything should happen, we will report you. So that gives them a second thought, like, maybe this is not the safe place to be. You want to be sure you get that information out and you let them know that we are taking a proactive stance. We're already ready in the event any of that decides to rise up in our church. It may not happen in the church. It may be children coming to your church. But you're letting everyone know that this is where we stand. It is not tolerated. Not in our church. It's not tolerated with me. And I'm going to make a stand regardless. The children around me will have a voice.
I think I got that right.
reportabuse.mdcps.ms.gov. That's it. Child abuse website.
There you go.
You can go on there and report online, and you can also call the 1-800 number and report as well.
Girl, I just let her go, baby. She got stirred up. She was over here talking, we didn't know what we were going to say.
I was like, I told her, I said, these people are going to be saying, did they even know they had a show today?
We did know we had a show, but it just comes naturally because we wish that we would have had somebody to speak up on our behalf. And so it's just truly from the heart. It's not scripted, and that's obvious.
It's not scripted.
It's not scripted at all. We just here to say, what did she say? I thank God daily for Miss Sunshine since January 2022.
She's sweet. That's so sweet.
Yeah,
so Sister Fowler, you so sweet.
Sister Fowler. Praise the Lord.
I know.
She's sitting in her favorite seat, the same pew every
with that big old church hat on.
With the fan.
With the fan.
Praise God. Praise God.
Oh, you are precious, Sister Fowler.
But so it's like, man, I think sometimes the only regret you have is not speaking up sooner. Like if regret had a face, is that how they say it? You'd be like,
oh yeah, look in the mirror.
You just look in the mirror and wish that you would have said something sooner. And then it's like when you do hear about it, because I've been in a funk for about 3 or 4 weeks, because it's been 3 children that I know of that a situation has occurred. One child I knew, the other 2 I didn't, but you don't even have to know who it is. You just have to know that the offense occurred, almost occurred, just about occurred, did whatever state it's in, from an inappropriate hug to straight out assault or molestation. It's
Yeah.
just it just bothers me. And if you have been through it, chances are it's going to bother you. And we don't always know what to do, but with this website and this phone number, that's definitely a start. So we need to educate ourselves because we don't want to miss out on the opportunity. So definitely learn how to be an active listener
Exactly.
and give that child or adult, give the person a safe place to speak. And don't go tell it. That's what messes it just messes up the whole thing, because if you're already not trusting of adults or other people, and then you do finally share, and before you hang up the phone, it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and any other social media outlet of what had happened. That's so discouraging. That's just, it's heartbreaking. You feel like you don't have anybody,
That's true.
and another betrayal to add to it. So
Yeah.
what do? You go to the bottle, you go to the pills, you go to the club. You try to
Just
mask it.
depression.
So, yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not the happy topic, but it's a necessary topic, you know?
Well, you know what? I'm going to say it is a happy topic because we can make a change. We can do something different. It can be happy for a child, to stop what we all encounter, or maybe you didn't. If you didn't, I bless God for you. I'm so thankful that didn't never, ever, ever have to go through um, that type of mindset in your life. But I think it's a happy topic. I'm going to say it's happy because with this message, with what's happening, what we're discussing today, it's going to change a child's life.
It's going to change.
And it's going to make some
So
child
what's
happy.
a good way to call it? A difficult but happy topic? Or because it's been something. All
Yeah.
these years, it's been something. Like, it has not been talked about because there's a negative.
It's taboo,
It's yeah.
It's taboo.
What goes on in this house stays in this house, or what goes on at this church or in this gym or wherever you are.
Yeah, yeah.
The fear is put in you more than likely. It's fear.
And I'm gonna go as far as saying, it was my brother-in-law that would come in our room at night and do things, inappropriate. And he never touched per se, but I know this was the precursor to things that he was doing. And when my parents found out about what he was doing, they just told him he wasn't allowed to come back anymore. Don't come back. And it was never discussed. It was never allowed to talk about. They never even asked us what happened to you in the room. Because he would come in the room at night, shut the door, and it was scary. I remember laying in the bed and just being so afraid of what was about to happen to me and my sister. And it was terrifying. And when my dad got up, and I think he went to go to the restroom and call him in our room, and it was just simply leave and don't come back. Don't come back. You're not allowed to stay the night. They could come back for family dinners. They could come back, and be involved with our events and stuff, but he wasn't permitted to come and stay the night with us anymore. But we still had to face him every, weekend, or face him for every dinner. But that was something. And, but I don't blame my parents. I'm going to say this. I believe they did the best they could to try to protect us, but we were not allowed to talk about it. We were not allowed. And it wasn't even something they said. They didn't come to us and say, don't talk about it. But it was how they responded by not talking about it. I knew it was not permitted to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept that within ourselves and didn't share this one of the most scary things that's ever come across my life, and it happened to me. And the comments, certain things he would say to me that was so inappropriate. I was, young teen, and why would you come say some of the things he said? But those were all signs. They were all triggers. And the fact that, when they would come around, my parents would never notice that I would go somewhere off by myself, or I would go walking down the road, or while they were in the house, while he was there, I would go hide in my room or hide in my parents' room. I would not stay in the same room with him. And I had built up a hatred towards this man. I did not want to be anywhere. I couldn't stand the sight of him. And but those are things that we're just gonna just keep it down. Let's not deal with that. Let's not discuss that. Let's not. Those were things in that in that time frame is taboo. And you know what? I want to take the head off of that thing. Mm-hmm. I want to take the neck off of it. I want to kill it dead. Open your mouth. Let these babies talk. Don't tell them to be quiet just because it's uncomfortable for you. Take the head off of that giant. Let's kill that giant and let's let these babies be free. Go ahead and get them the therapy and the healing they need if they've ever encountered something like that. Don't let them grow up having to figure out life with that weight on them and feel horrible about themselves, disgusted because they put the blame back on themselves. What did I do? Why am I the one that was treated like this? And feeling like you're alone. Mm-hmm. Don't ever, ever, ever. If you have the power, we all have the power to give these babies a voice. Give them their voice back, and let's silence these. Give them their voice, but silence these perpetrators.
Yeah. Whew. Lord, I don't even know where. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad, but you can be victorious, even if you have to go through the process. Like, we're trying to prevent it, but then for the people that have already encountered and suffered at the hands of a perpetrator, it's like there's hope. Instead of feeling hopeless, just remember that you are not alone and that you have a voice, and there are places that you can reach out to.
Exactly.
That provide a safe space for you. So yes, we definitely want to stop it. I don't even know where to start so that the penalty, or is that penalty? Punishment. The punishment just will be not that slap on the wrist anymore, but take their head off. Make an example out of just a few. It only takes the word to get out that, hey, if you touch it with a child, this is what is about to happen to you. Mm-hmm. Because no one wants to hear about a child, but we have to pay attention because it happens, and we're turning our head like we don't notice that child that's looking a little rough. We're just blaming the parent as, oh, that don't make no sense, she not taking care of that child. You don't know what that child is going through. You don't even know what the mother is going through. So let's stop being so judgmental and start asking the questions, because this is a happy topic, because things are changing.
It's gonna change. It's gonna change. And one thing I will add to, and I know, I guess I need to be quiet. But one thing I will
girl,
add,
you good, because I'm over here like, man, I wish I would have just found my voice sooner.
Sooner, yeah, yeah.
But go ahead.
But no, I was gonna say the worst thing. Do not, and I've seen where this has happened a lot. Do not go back to the parents, or go back to whoever's been bringing them, or just leave that between you, especially if the parent is possibly one of the people that's done the harm to the child. Don't go back and say, girl, let me tell you, or man, let me tell you what I heard from your child. What your child say? Your child came to me and said, I have secrets and I can't tell you because my daddy will go to jail, or I can't tell you, or because my mama will get in trouble. Don't go back to mama and daddy and say those things, because now you've stripped them of their voice. So be careful not to go back. Take everything these babies say seriously, because I'm telling you, it is prevalent, and you can ruin that child by going back and repeating that simple little thing. That simple little thing. Keep that between you and that baby, and give that baby that safe place to open up and say, hey, I want to tell you the secret. I want to tell you what it is. And but if you go back and tell mom and daddy, your child keeps coming to me talking about they got secrets, don't do that. Don't do that. Let that be a Sunday school event, and y'all talk about secrets, and just in Sunday school. But please don't go and give that information to the parent or anything at that time, because you know just don't take it for granted that it's not them.
Because once you disclose that information, man, that child is going to shut completely down. I mean, because it takes a lot of courage to even start to speak on those things, because, like you said, it could be someone right there in the home, or it could be that they're using, threats against family members or you or whatever. So if the child is like really wanting to tell but has to take their time, because everybody's not just gonna come whoop, some will, some won't. So we just have to be mindful and handle those situations with care, because it's a sensitive topic.
It is. I've enjoyed this time with you.
I know we had a good time.
I know. I'm surprised that I made it.
I was like, "Are you surprised you had a good time with me?" Like, I'm surprised I had a good time
I
with
thought I
you.
was gonna fall up out this chair.
Look, and she just done carried on, and I enjoyed it. Like when it was my turn, I was like, "Girl, I don't know what to say behind that, because you did awesome."
Oh, bless God. That was the Lord, y'all. That was the Lord. Give God glory. Come on, let's bless the Lord.
Ooh, yes, indeed.
Amen.
And I know that we were going to talk about a different type of abuse, but y'all, abuse is abuse, and so I know, what's the other one that you're advocate? Abuse against children with disabilities, right? That's another. But I mean, we should just be advocates all the way around to save these children, because again, they grow up to be adults. They'll grow up to be the adult with the gun in their hand, the pill bottle in their hand, or whatever. And we want to make sure that we become a healthy generation, the generations to come, because depending on your age, you might have children on the way, grandchildren, great grandchildren, whatever it is. We want to make sure, because this world is looking crazy, and it's time for us to take the bull by the horns and say enough is enough. And, we have a voice, and it does count. And we are worthy, even though for a long time, we didn't feel that way.
That's so true. That's so true. But I'm thankful that, like I said, to have been surrounded by some strong, strong people and women of God, that we've just been able to open up. I'm going to tell you, I'm just a little shameless plug, Sisters on One Accord. Whoop, whoop. Here at Church of the Living God Resurrection, 1011 Maple Street, Waveland, Mississippi. But I'm just going to
go ahead on.
Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock. But I'm just saying, that's where I was rescued. That's where I was rescued, because to be in a place where, first of all, what happens in Sisters stays in Sisters, and it was a safe outlet for us to just really open up and say, our just share our fears and our hurts and our brokenness. That to be around women who could actually relate to you and help you see your value. I love that, and I thank God for that, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have walked in my calling to be a minister in the gospel. I would have still been running, hiding, because still, there's still times when I'm standing and sharing the gospel, that thought comes in my head that you're not good enough for this. But I'm so glad to be around sisters, that'll say, hey, you better come on out.
Come on, girl,
come on. We're going to do this. We're going to do this together. We're going to push you, and, I'm there to push them.
Well, things, in situations, they rise up, and it starts to like knock you from one side to the other side, that make you question, do I really want to continue to do this? Because I'm getting beat up right now, and I could very easily go back over in the corner and curl up in the fetal position, which is what we talk about, and just be at peace. Be at peace, but you put yourself out here, and it's like you better have on the whole armor and be prepared, because the darts are going to be coming, the punches, anything, the kicks in the stomach, everything is going to be coming from each direction. It's not going to be just a walk in the park. And even though we smile and make it look easy, um, it's definitely a journey. And so you have to have a made up mind. And like she said, be surrounded around strong women that's going to encourage you. Because this live is happening right now because someone encouraged me. Sunshine, don't you stop. Let me give you the phone. You can take it over. But if it's not for them and it's your assignment, then you have to carry it out.
Yeah.
And if it's meant for you, you will be given the tools, the strength, and everything that you need to fulfill that assignment. Because if you hand it over, then what's going to happen to you? You're going to be the one over there with the pill bottle and the gun and whatever, so you can't do that. So we have to stand strong and do what it takes to make it through and make a difference, Turned Up Fitness, those that you believe that believe in you will not be the ones that be on your journey.
That's right. You're right about it. Those that you believe that believe in you will not be the ones that are necessarily on your journey.
It'll be a totally new crew, because there's going to be some people that fall off that you think are going to go up with you, but those are the ones that actually don't even want to see you succeed. They're just there to know what the game plan is, because you're confiding in people that you think that you can trust, only to find out that
and some people are just seasonal anyway.
And some people are seasonal.
I call them commas. they're commas. You're trying to put a period there and end it, with that person. But God says, that's a comma. You got to keep going. The sentence is not over. Just keep it moving, and stop trying to put a period where a comma is on people. So, some people are just commas in your life, and that's what he, Turned Up Fitness is saying. Wait, you went on to a whole new thing. What were you saying? Oh, about the people being in your life. They're the ones you think are there for you are not the ones that's going to be there for your journey.
Building the building was Jesus' plan.
Yes.
They want to join once the work is done. The commas become question marks.
That's true.
Yes, that's a good one. Turned Up Fitness. That's smart with Turned Up Fitness, Tonsi. Yes, they become question marks. Yes. And if you got a question, you might need to go ahead on and
it's
cross them on out. Use that red, when you're doing corrections, you use that red ink pen.
Yes.
Cross that out. Get out of here. You got to get out of here.
That's awesome.
He said, stay turned up. You do stay turned up.
Oh, they almost open. Congratulations.
Yes. He's in Georgia.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to say where they are. We might have to go get turned up over there, but I can't turn up in Georgia.
Yes, you can. We can turn up in Georgia.
Okay. Sunshine said I could turn up in Georgia, because we might have to come and turn up over there.
Which, at least for your grand opening. When is the grand opening?
Tell people in Georgia when you opening up. I got some people over in Georgia.
Yeah, let us know. She keep going live. It's a singles thing. Online. We got online, and we can do it all.
Oh, wow. That's neat. I like that.
Okay, turned up. Look at him.
Go on. Is it a him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mark.
Well, hey, Mark, we're going to have to get turned up online then and get to working out.
You was supposed to do something?
I was going to do some working out.
I'm sorry. I
was like thinking, maybe that's not right. But,
make sure to share my channel. Okay. All right. Turned Up Fitness on YouTube. So, yeah, girl, this has been really good. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I had a whole bunch of input, because I just was like, I don't know. I just was like really relaxed over here. Once we got started, we laughed and we just knew we were going to have a good time on here. Like we said, the topic is much needed.
Yes. Yes.
But it's going to have a happy ending because why? We are more than survivors. Like we didn't just survive it. We are completely healed. I feel like that there are triggers. So sometimes I'm curious, does that mean that you're not healed if you're triggered by something? I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be a lifelong process because, one day it may not even bother you, and another day it might kind of bring you back. Like with this situation with these babies, it brought me back, and I mean it just continued to replay in my mind, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like I could visualize them because people sent me their pictures, and like I said, one little girl, I knew her, she like my little sunshine, and it messes with you so bad to know that these people are still out there being welcomed into the home, that the kids have to constantly see them. And that's confusing. It's like, you hurt me. I told that you hurt me. One parent didn't believe it. One parent said, oh, it's going to be okay, and continues to let them come around. So each situation was a little bit different, but at the same time, it affected me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I'm still in the process, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Like even in my walk, I still feel like I'm able to help somebody.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be all the way one way to help somebody along your journey. Because if that's the case, you're going to miss a whole lot of opportunities if you have to wait until you're completely healed or perfect or whatever you think it's supposed to be. No. And I think that's where we mess up a lot of times. We don't feel qualified. But if you've been through something and you can lend an active ear, be an active listener, show the person some empathy and give them a safe space that their conversation is held confidential, man, you're working with something. Like you don't have to be the minister, the parent, the therapist, none of this.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Yeah, exactly.
And let them get it out. Because once you say it that one time, it'll be easier for you to open up to the counselor, or it'll be easier because that first time is like the hardest time to really admit it because you have all this guilt and all of this shame that you're carrying like you did something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So
I hope we heard that. Crack pop.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Let's see. Most come and most don't survive.
What is that at the gym?
That must be the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, he turned up. we he is turned up. So did you have any closing, like if you didn't get anything else from this episode, this is what I want you to take away. This is your one golden nugget. If you didn't hear anything else I said, this is the one thing that I want you all to take away. What's your one takeaway?
Nothing. No, I'm trying.
Girl, you be messing with me. I told y'all she's something else.
Well, I mean, everything that we discussed was basically golden nuggets that you can grasp. And I always say, anytime we come before people, it's like spreading a buffet. Some things, you've tried before, some things are brand new. And so you kind of pick and choose and pick up, everybody's got something they can take from this buffet.
That's true.
Hopefully you heard something new. Maybe it was just the number that, what do I do? Or it gave you the insight to just keep your eyes and ears open to watch for children's behaviors and understanding that they're not necessarily going to tell you, but they may act it out for you. And this is where we just have to be, very attentive to what's going on in the sanctuaries and around us at all times. It might be key, and I might say this, if you're in the church, teach your children little things, little signals to tell you in the church if something's wrong. Give them a little signal. I saw something where they were doing this online, where the babies were able to tell or doing something with their hand. Maybe you need to come up with something for your children in the church to tell them, hey, if something's going on and, you're not comfortable, then, teach them a little hand signal, to do for you to, so they won't have to tell you, but if they're letting you know that I'm not comfortable with this.
I had one that I was gonna say. I forgot just that quick. You know how it is over here with Sunshine. It'll come back eventually, but we'll be long gone off the air. I think if I had to say anything, Minister Wallace definitely is true. What she's saying about the buffet, because we all take different things away. You can watch it 5 times, and each time you'll have a different takeaway from it. So that was like the best comeback I've had. She still didn't answer the one question. She came and said, "Hey, it's a buffet I gave you. It's a buffet of golden nuggets. Go back and listen and grab you one."
Yeah.
I love that in response. But I think if I had one takeaway was definitely the buffet, but also educate yourself. Like, educate yourself, because we're here telling you to pay attention. We're here to tell you to call the number, seek help, be a listening ear, but also educate yourself so you'll know what it looks like. You'll know, like, from a professional standpoint, if this is what you see, then this is what you do, so that you're not like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what do I do? I don't want to call the phone number on them, but what do I do? So we don't want to miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
So if you educate yourself and learn what to do, because I know we had to we didn't have to. Did we have to? I think it was mandatory for us to take a suicide training so that we could be aware of what that looks like, what that sounds like. When people say, well, I don't know, they have that hopeless answer. Every time you ask them something, it's just going downhill, and you're like, are you okay? Or are you thinking about committing suicide? Like, they literally said, ask that hard question. Don't go away and not ask it if they're displaying these particular signs. Now, you can't learn everything, but if you know the main things that happens with a child, with an adult, how they behave when something is happening, then the best way to handle it is to educate yourself. Exactly. So that you can identify it, and then you'll know how to act on it.
Exactly. Amen. And I agree with that.
All right. Well, that's it.
That's it.
We spent the afternoon together.
I enjoyed every moment.
I did. We had a good time. So y'all please be sure to get connected. We are at the church. What's the address again?
1011 Maple Street.
1011 Maple Street.
Waveland, Mississippi.
It's
Church of the Living God Resurrection.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And there are sisters on one accord on Tuesdays, and church is Sundays.
Sunday school at 9, worship services at 10.
Sunday school at 9, worship at 10. What time we get out? Okay, we just gonna stay with what time it starts. Y'all know how it go. Y'all know how it go.
I think we get out about 11:30. We don't stay. It's not long.
So Sunday school's at 9. Church is at 10. Worship starts at 10.
Yeah, worship starts at 10. And then about 11:30, 12.
That's not.
Might be 12 sometimes. I don't know. I don't ever pay attention. Nobody's ever complained.
Oh, okay. Well, then it must not be a bad thing. Y'all know how it is when lunch passes by, dinner starts to approach me like, Jesus, come on through.
We're not here that long, though.
Okay.
But we have a good time in the Lord.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I'm just being funny.
I know.
Because, that's one of the jokes about us.
We don't know how to go home.
We don't know how to go home.
Well, one thing we do know, when we start getting hungry, things start wrapping up.
It's time to go.
Because
the Holy Spirit going to Popeyes.
We don't wrap it up. We do try to follow the way of the Holy Ghost here. So if you're looking for a church home, we always tell everyone, no one is left behind here. You belong here. This is home. Come home. So, I know I wasn't going to do that plug, but come on down. We'll take care of you. You'll feel good here.
She'll take good care of you.
Oh, yeah. We'll love you.
She just ain't going to hug you.
For members. That's a member privilege.
Okay, you remember because let me say, the first time I met her, I'm like, she's like,
No. Back up off
what's
of that.
wrong with you?
What you doing? It's like assault and battery over here. No.
Because I went in and she's like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But that goes back to what we were saying, that if it's not taken care of, it affects our adult relationships.
Yes.
And so, it takes a loving friend to understand
that I wasn't like telling you to back off. I don't like you and all that different stuff.
And she wasn't doing this because of my breath. There was
No,
the gnats up in here. Even though we had some onions for
that was rough. I had to keep turning my head for a minute. No.
We're about to go, y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining the live. And y'all have an amazing night. Go share a smile and spread some sunshine. Do it with me, girl. Spread some sunshine. All right, girl. Y'all have a great night.